I'm Ester Villalonga Olives. I'm an associate professor at the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy. The research project we are talking about today is an NIH R01 funded project. It's to measure structural racism. Structural racism are the multiple systems that interact with each other to assert racist policies. And this has many impacts. It has an impact at the individual level. It has an impact at the society level. So that's why we talk about a multi-level perspective in our project, and also we developed an intersectional approach. Why is this intersectional? Because when we talk about multiple systems, it means that we talk about institutions, so it affects like multiple facets of our life. That's why it's a very complex concept. And in our project, we mentioned that structural racism has to be measured in a multi-level way, and also thinking about multiple dimensions, because it affects several dimensions of our lives, and also intersectionality. And we always talk about marginalized groups. So those that are affected by structural racism are marginalized populations. So we are targeting Hispanics and Blacks, because in the past there are multiple indexes that have been concentrated on evaluating Blacks only. I have Hispanic origin, I'm from Spain, and since I moved to Baltimore 6 years ago, I have been acting as a Hispanic community advocate. I have other projects targeting Hispanics. So I realized that some of the measures that already exist cannot be used in Hispanics. So the idea is to develop this measure to be used in Hispanics and in Blacks. And we want to achieve there is measurement invariance. This means that the items that are part of the individual level data have measurement invariance. If there is lack of measurement invariance, we will have to say what to do, maybe drop some items, but the idea is that we should be able to use the same items, the same questions for both populations. So this is I believe, one of the innovations we are proposing. So the team that is involved in this project is a pretty interesting team. We have a team with psychometricians and social epidemiologists. And I have many consultants as well. Why? Because I need to develop a board of directors. Why is the board of directors important in this proposal? It's because I need people from several sectors. I not only need academics, I need community members, and I need people that run businesses, that are from minorities, that may have had issues in the past, in order to help us to develop those measures. The end result of the project, the idea is to have one whole measure. And as I mentioned, it should be multi-level. So it's going to be the index, which is going to be an expansion of an index that already exists. But in this case, thinking about adding indicators that are more for Hispanics and economic indicators. And we are going to be developing an item bank. An item bank is very important because it's to collect individual level data. And the idea is that the item bank should be working for Hispanics and for Blacks. And an item bank, so it's a very complex process where we have to make sure that the items work well for both populations and they are free of bias. I know, so some people are interested in individual level data only, others are interested in the community level data only, so they could be used separately. But our idea is that this is used combined. So this way, when you want to measure how exposed a person is to structural racism, they should be combining the data collected from the community perspective, and also from a personal perspective, because as I mentioned, we believe this is multi-level. So it's going to be very flexible. So the idea when we developed this was to be not rigid at all. So we want to have multiple products that should be used not only in research, so policymakers may be interested in measuring this. So the most important thing is that we cannot tackle structural racism if we don't measure it well. So the important missing piece was, okay, we have some indexes, but we are still missing important data when we want to do like a good job collecting information on structural racism. So that's why we need 4 years to develop all the steps we proposed, and to make sure that we have the instrument not only in English but also in Spanish. So it's a very complex process, but hopefully we'll be successful.